Barton founded this company. He'd been running it for over a decade. He didn't see this. You actually see these car marketplaces and these real estate marketplaces just having difficulty to have the same winner-take-all dynamic.
If you have a bunch of these that are sitting on your balance sheet and all of a sudden housing prices collapse, what happens?
We've spoken a lot about real estate marketplaces. Zillow and Redfin, both in Platt, the ETF. And I really like this modest proposal. Fellow or who knows, lady on Twitter, Modest Proposals, talking about an interview with Rich Barton, who is the CEO of Zillow. And basically what he says is Zillow didn't have a choice. Opendoor's offering. Opendoor, we've spoken about before. Basically, they buy homes. They say, hey, I'm going to give you an offer for $750,000 for your house. They use big data to
price it,
and then say, okay, I'm going to buy, if I can buy this thing for $750,000, if I put $25,000 and work on this house, then I should be able to flip it for $850,000. And so they've got these algorithms and these models that are now proactively, out of the blue, giving offers to people to buy their house. Kind of an interesting model. Basically, Opendoor is valued now more than what Redfin is. I think it's around $4 billion valuation, maybe $5 billion. It's close to what Zillow is valued at. I think Zillow is around $6-ish billion. So this is a linear business, though. This is not a platform business. So it's very capital intensive. You're buying stuff and then flipping it. But the whole model is that they can use data and algorithms to find opportune buying opportunities and then flip them for a good price, right? So the CEO says, we saw this coming, this instant buying, this phenomenon. It was an existential threat because if it works and we don't do it, we get displaced as the marketplace theoretically. And so, he says here, Barton is also on the board of Netflix. And so he's kind of hearkening it back to Netflix kind of upending the entertainment industry, which is more correct than the marketplace example, right? So this is kind of a linear business coming in and laying waste to how home buying has been done forever, basically. Basically, Zillow has decided to roll this out organically, and they're losing money trying to figure this out. So they lost $72 million in the second quarter of 2019. And what Barton's saying is we didn't have a choice. And this is an existential threat. We had to do this. We had to figure this out. Now, what's interesting is that Barton founded this company. He'd been running it for over a decade. He didn't see this.
Yeah.
Opendoor got pretty big before Zillow got around to doing this themselves. Redfin has partnered with Opendoor. There's probably going to be a merger we predicted there. Actually, probably Opendoor consuming the platform, interestingly enough. And I think that's one of the interesting models in these really large ticket product marketplaces. Highly infrequent purchasing, right? So I buy a car. I buy a house. How often do you do that, right? So there's really very little, if any, stickiness on the consumer side to keep coming back
right
and back again. It's really all on the supply side.
Big one-off purchases.
That's why the Zillow work with the brokers and the real estate agents. The Cars.com work with the dealers.
Yep.
So you have just such a stronger affinity towards the supply and the producers where you do have a lot of repeat business. And on the consumer side, it's much more transient and you have very high CAC to get these customers. And so you actually see these car marketplaces and these real estate marketplaces just having difficulty to have the same winner take all dynamic that you see with some of the more, I would say, like 2.0 type of marketplaces, where the consumers have a lot of repeat usage and you have a lot of stickiness on both sides of the ecosystem. When you have less stickiness on one side or the other of the ecosystem, then you naturally kind of see just less consolidation of the network effect on both the buying and supplying side.
The network effect isn't quite as strong. So there's the ability for more people to compete. You can get sufficient enough supply that you can make an offer to a customer, then you can basically just compete on ad cost.
Right. And that's the interesting thing in these models, these linear buying and reselling models, whether that's a Carvana on the car side. I'm pretty sure I'm referencing the right company here, Carvana, which will buy your used car, fix it up, and then resell it. And similarly, Opendoor on the real estate side is the platform now should have a competitive advantage to do the linear activity of buying and reselling because it has the widest access to data and it has the broadest network of coverage. Hence the Opendoor Redfin partnership. So, really interesting space here. We'll see, can the dominant platform in real estate organically compete against the Opendoor upstart or not? We'll see how this kind of goes. If this tips the scales.
Going back to the downturn thing too, I think you have a company that has a business model that works fantastic as long as the market's going up. You can take a house and you can price it, based on current price levels and say I can flip it. But if you have a bunch of these that are sitting on your balance sheet and all of a sudden housing prices collapse, what happens? Not saying that's about to happen, but there is some skepticism about Opendoor's model in a downturn. Because unlike a lot of these fintech companies, they do have huge assets that can, have a lot of downside to them. Basically, in a downturn, even to a greater degree than loans do, and a lot of these fintech companies also don't hold those on their balance sheet. Yeah. They're just marketplace.
Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the Plat ETF. Thanks for joining us.